Hi everyone, I'm Deb Sormenio from Mindful Doodling, and I am going to do a follow along mandala tutorial for you today. I'll start with supplies and then get right into it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Thanks, let's get started. So first we'll go over supplies, which is paper, of course, and a regular old number 2 pencil. Mine's covered in staples, I don't know why. And a ruler or another something with a straight edge like a postcard or envelope, and a couple of circular things. I'm just using random things from my desk, but you can use like a quarter and a drinking glass. That would be perfect. And so let's begin. So I'm going to explain things, what I'm doing as I go along, and then I'm going to pause to give you time to do them. So now I'm taking my biggest round object and tracing it, little faded there, and then a smaller one, and just try to center it as much as you can in the middle. We're not, trying to be perfectionists here. Just, kind of eyeball it and trace that around. And then now we have our starting point. So let me pause so you can catch up here. Okay, so just roughly gauge the center of your smallest circle there and put a little dot. That's where we're going to kind of be radiating our guidelines from. So take your straight edge and make a line just straight down going through that dot in the center and then across. And I kind of, try to, to make it parallel or, horizontal across. But, might not be perfect. Now we're going to go right in the center of the lines we have first. So kind of just try to, judge where center is. It doesn't need to be perfect. Make a little dot to guide your ruler. Now start from the center. This is important because you want your lines to cross in the center. And then just, kind of judge where those, or, see, line up where those dots are. And they don't have to be exactly right. Make sure that you are right on center though. That's the most important. And then one across. And then we are good on guidelines. You could draw more if you want, but this will be good. And we are going to start right in the center here with a little spiral. So just kind of start with a C shape and spiral it around. And pause for you to finish that up. Now we're going to give ourselves some guidelines. So just about a quarter way down from the next circle, put a little dot on each line, just as a guide for making our petals coming up. We are basically making some little flower petals, long skinny flower petals going all the way around our spiral. And our guides are there to kind of just help us keep all the petals the same length, because going around in the circle they tend to get like either really long or really short, and the little dots just help us keep them about the same height, even though they don't need to be perfect. And a little pause. So we're just going to use the circle that we drew as our guide as our actual line. Might as well take advantage of that and make little tiny flower petals all the way around. And these are basically just half circles that you're making just on the line going all the way around the circle. And see how I have a little tiny one there that ended up, kind of squished in? That's okay. You won't even notice later. And so go ahead and finish those up. Now we're making a second layer of little half circle petals going around, and we're going to start right in the center of one petal and end right in the center of the next. So it's basically going from the top center of each petal all the way around, making a second layer. And these again are, just little half circles going from the top of each little petal or hump underneath. And again, I'll squeeze this one in and then let you finish up this row. And remember, hit the pause button on your side if you need a little bit more time. Now we're going to, again, just make a little guide for ourselves for the next element that we're putting down. So right in between each of the lines that you drew, and about a third of the way down from the outer circle, it doesn't have to be exact, just eyeball it. See if you can make them about the same going around. But again, it doesn't need to be perfect. And just make a dot in that same place in each section, and that'll just give us a guide for the next step. And finish up the dots, and we'll continue. Now we're going to make a bigger kind of petal or semi-triangle shape using the guides that we just drew. So starting from the base of the line and going up to the dot that you made, just make a little slightly curved line. If they kind of go straight, that's fine. If they're really curvy, that's fine. They don't need to be perfect. We're just kind of making a little kind of petal that's going in between each of these sections. There we go, last one, and go ahead and finish those up. Next step is just making a little outline or kind of echo of the lines that we just made around the petals. So just kind of, just pretty close to the lines and just following the shape of the lines that you made for those petals. Just go all the way around to each petal. And this is something that I do a lot. In fact, it's also something that they do a lot in Zentangle, and I think it's called Aura. But it's kind of a nice filler, gives you a little extra added detail, and it just gives it a nice flow and feel to the design. And so finish those up. Time for another guide. Again, just right in the center of each of these lines or curves that you have there, just make a little dot as a starting point for our next element that we're going to be putting down. And again, doesn't need to be perfect, just about center-ish in each of these. And this just so it's much easier when you're drawing the line to go right to the spot. And then from those dots that we just made, we're going to go up to the circle that's our guide and just draw straight lines. So like the two sides of a triangle. We're not going to make a full triangle, we're not making the bottom, we're just going from the little dot guides that we made up to the top where our outer circle guideline is. And make those all the way around. And then I will give you a couple of seconds to finish those up. And that was just don't worry if they're not perfect. Simple there. And again, more guides. So exactly the same, right in the center of those lines that you made, just make a little dot and do that going all the way around. Remember, they don't have to be exactly center or perfect. Just put a little dot there as a guide when you're making our next shape. And our next shape is going to be just like a little curve going around up to the top of our outer circle guide. So we're going to start from the little dot we made and make a little curve around to the top center. And you can see I'm not perfect either. My little U's are really wonky, but that is okay. So just continue around from the dot up to the top of the circle guide and back around. And I will let you finish those. And time for some more little flower petals. So these are the half circle flower petals that we did before. And we're just going to line this half circle kind of shape that we made before with these little flower petals. And just, keep them all about the same size, but it's really no big deal. We're just putting a little extra detail around. So go ahead and finish up those petals. We are almost done. We're just going to add some extra little details for just, some added interest and to break up the open spaces a little bit. And inside of these petals, we're just putting some plain old circles. You can put spirals if you want, but I'm just keeping it simple with circles. And inside the triangles, I'm going to put actual little triangles. So just kind of, in the center of that, the top of the little triangle shape, just draw another little triangle in there. And I felt like I needed some little shapes in these. So I'm just going to make little tiny circles and a solid dot. And just keep them small and tiny. Just go on each side, and then the solid dot just right at the top of the point of that petal down below. And as a very final touch, I'm just going to put 3 little dots, kind of, going from larger to smaller, although they're all very small. Just going from the tip of the triangle out. And I usually like to do some sort of like little flare on the outside of my mandalas. I think it just adds that extra kind of something special to them. And we are all done. And just take a few seconds to, make any finishing touches that you need. And then I will move on to outlining in pen. Outlining. I'm using a Pigma Micron 05 pen, but you can use anything you want as long as it's just, a fine point, marker, ballpoint pen, whatever. And just kind of going over the lines that I made. I do like to kind of take this opportunity in outlining with pen to fix any kind of, weird things going on. Some things you can't fix. If something's really out of alignment, you just kind of have to go with it. But if there's something that just has a, line got extra, wobbly with your pencil, you can just straighten it out when you go over in pen. Turning the paper, yes, that's very important. It's so much easier when you turn the paper instead of trying to bend your wrist in all kind of crazy ways. It's kind of hard to do on a video, but it makes it so much easier. And next, we're going to be outlining this circle that was our guideline. And it's easiest if you kind of just do one little section at a time and turn the paper, rather than trying to make one long, continuous line around the circle. And just keep turning a little bit at a time. It's much easier to draw a nice, smooth, short segment of a line than one big, long, continuous circle. And now I'm just going to go back around a second time just to make that line a little bit thicker. I usually like a bit more sort of line width variation in my mandalas. I think it makes it really interesting. I'm not going to really go into that much in this this mandala, but I did just want to darken up or thicken up this line a little bit. And just continuing outlining, doing the little 2 layers of petals next. I decided that this second row of little petals needed something extra, so I'm putting some dots in the middle. And that's it, just one little dot in the middle of each one, just on the outside row. So I'm just going to finish up outlining. I am not going to pause anymore. I'm working pretty slow on this, so just keep up as you can. And remember to keep turning your paper as you work. It makes it easier, and you're less likely to make mistakes or have wobbly lines. If you do make a mistake or have a wobbly line, you have a couple of choices. You can say, oh well, it is what it is. You can, if you have like a white gel pen, you can kind of, trace over it with that to, sort of white it out, I suppose. Or you could use, if you have actual, sort of old-fashioned whiteout or the correction fluid, you can use that too. I usually ignore it if it's little, or I I don't know what else I do. If it's really, really bad, it depends on what I'm doing it for. If I'm just playing around and practicing, I just say, oh well, and I leave it. If I'm doing it for some sort of, final or a card or something like that, and it's really that bad, I would probably honestly start over, just because I like something that I'm going to be, framing or giving away or something to look, um, really nice. And I've never been really good at using the correction fluid. It always comes out lumpy and gross, so I wouldn't want to do that either. But again, it's up to you. It totally depends on what you're doing it for practicing and playing around or trying new designs, whatever. Mistakes are not that big of a deal. Um, or you could try, one of the other things to, kind of correct it a little bit if it bugs you. Anyway, I hope that you really liked the video and the mandala. I hope that it really helped you and that you could follow along easily and that you're super happy with your results. I would love it if you would post photos of your mandalas that you did. And I will be making more videos with a little bit more probably advanced mandalas. So possibly a little bit more intricate, a little bit more details, a little bit bigger, things like that. If you have any suggestions for something that you want me to do, just let me know in the comments. I would love that. I'm always trying to think of different things to do. And if you have any questions on doing this mandala or my technique or the things that I use, pencils or pens or anything like that, just let me know. And enjoy, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Oops, I almost forgot. We need to erase our pencil marks. So I'm using a kneaded artist eraser, but any eraser will be fine. And just to, erase off all the guidelines and the extra pencil marks that we have. It kind of looks like I'm really scrubbing and going to town here, but yeah, I'm actually not. It's just making the camera jiggle as I erase. So just be kind of gentle. You don't want to rip your paper. You don't want to like make it all, rough. So just gently go across the design and, get off all the pencil marks that you can see. And again, hope you like it. See you next time. Bye-bye.